Right, welcome to the second video in this Designing with Shapes project that we are taking part. Firstly, I hope you're all safe and well done for those of you that sent through your work. It all looks really good. Now, like the last video, this video is going to be split up into some sections again. So obviously the introduction section, which we're in now. We're going to do a review section of the work that I've seen, so sort of an overview of collaboratively of all the work that I've seen, some do's and don'ts and some helpful tips going forward. We're then going to do a little practice task again to show you what obviously this is all about, and then we're going to do the main task, the actual work that I want you to do. So let's get into it. Right, as I've already mentioned, the work that I have already seen looks amazing, so really well done for those of you that have sent through the work. Now, at points, a few people are still not quite sketching how I would want to see you sketch. What I mean by that, if you remember from the last time when I talked about how we sketch, we talked about making those points of contact. So I was going to draw a square, we wanted to make 4 individual lines. Now, one thing that I might not have mentioned last time, and I probably should have, is the speed in which you draw those lines. Now you can see I haven't drawn a perfect square there. It's not, by no means 90-degree angles in every corner, so it's not perfect. But it is a sketch, and that is the point here. We're doing a sketch, not a perfect artistic drawing. Now you'll notice when I did my square, the speed of the lines that I actually did. And you can see I'm doing my lines nice and quickly. Some of you, from looking at your work, look like you're panicking slightly with trying to get it too perfect, and you're doing quite slow lines. A couple of things happen there. When you start doing slow lines, you can see already I've started to press harder. But also you don't get that sketched look. You then start trying to get this perfect shape look. And the problem is, however nice it is to try and make your work look perfect, if you're going to draw like that, if you don't get perfect 90-degree angles on your squares, it looks wrong. At least when we do sketches, so the examiner can see that you're just doing very quick flicks with the pencil, that is a sketch, and by no means the examiner is going to think that should be a perfect shape. The problem is when we start doing this, it looks like you're doing more of an artistic drawing of a shape, and therefore it is going to be a little bit more, it's going to look not quite right. All right, so one tip that I would suggest for quite a few of you when I saw the work is just when you're doing those lines, just if you need to do another practice sheet, do it, but just practice those fast moving lines and think about the pressure in which you're putting onto the actual paper. Don't do slow lines, because obviously you're going to get that thick, heavier line, and obviously it's going to stop you getting this sketch look, and you can't really do a fast, heavy pressing line. I think that's just going to look, well, you see, it looks a little bit silly. So let's try and keep those fainter, quicker lines and not pressing too hard. I guess let's move on. So this is our practice task. Now, before we get on to that, we should probably explain what we're actually going to be practicing. Now, for you to get a high mark, a high grade in the design section of your coursework, the exam board states that you need to be able to demonstrate a range of drawing skills. Now, what that might mean is, first of all, we've got 2D drawing. Now, 2D drawing is quite easy because you've got your sketching, which is exactly what we're doing now, and that's perfect. When it comes to doing 3D drawing, there are quite a few different types of 3D drawing. You've got oblique, and that's a key word because that's what we're going to actually be looking at today, which is oblique style of 3D drawing. We've got isometric forms of 3D drawing, and we've also got something called orthographic, which is a 3-point perspective. Now that's a 2D style of drawing made to look 3D. We've also got CAD, which hopefully you know that CAD stands for computer aided designing. So that is being able to design and draw your designs and bring them to life on the computer. So that's what the exam will mean by a range of drawing techniques. But today, as I mentioned, we're going to start by looking at that oblique style of drawing. Again, that is the key word of today, oblique. So what I'm going to do to start, I'm just going to draw a couple of 2D or sketch a couple of 2D shapes again. So I'm just going to draw my trusty square, or rectangle as it's now turned out to be, never mind, that'll be fine. just going to draw a triangle, or attempt. Shouldn't really tell you what the shape's going to be in case it's not very good. I'm going to draw something a bit more complicated. Let's go for, here we go, put myself under pressure. See, there we go. So 3 not so perfect shapes, but that's absolutely fine. They were just quick sketches. Now, as I mentioned, we're doing 3D drawing, and as you can see, I've just done 2D. I've done flat, quick sketches, but Oblique is all about turning these 2D sketches, 2D designs, into a 3D design. And the way we're going to do that, and again, you can do several practice sheets as well. Don't have to feel that you have to try and keep up with me. Pause the video, get some paper, do quite a few practices, that's fine. So what I'm actually going to do to turn it 3D, I always go from left to right. That's my preference. There's nothing saying you can't go from right to left. Again, you can practice going that way if you wish. I just know from many years of doing this, I prefer to go from left to right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my pencil on each corner. I'm just going to point to the corners that I'm talking about. Now I don't need to do this one, because if I did left to right here, I'm actually going inside the shape. You wouldn't see it. So what I'm going to do, and the key part of Oblique is 45 degrees. Now again, because we were just sketching, don't get a protractor out and start angling and putting it on and trying to get a perfect 45-degree line. We don't have to do that at all. What you do want to practice though is just trying to keep these angled lines as close to 45 degrees as you think possible, but the important bit is keeping them all parallel to each other. So what I'm going to do is get on this corner and draw a little 45-degree line, and you can see, please don't get a protractor out, it's not going to be perfect, I promise you. Then it comes to the next corner, and all I'm going to do is try and do the same angle, keeping those parallel, okay? And then importantly down to this bottom one and doing a 45-degree line. Now again, I'm not going to do this one, because if I did that one, it'd be inside the shape and you wouldn't see it, so it's pointless, okay? Obviously you've got to this stage. All I'm now going to do is join those lines up. So simply from here, again, sketchy line up to the top. Again, if you get these gaps and so on, don't worry about it. It's sketching, it's perfect. The examiner likes to see the way you've sketched. And again, across the top, across like so, okay? And there we've now turned a 2D rectangle into a 3D, or using that keyword oblique, shape there. If I try that on my triangle, my trusty triangle again, just go from here. Now the 3, I've obviously only got the 3 corners, but I can only do these 2, because again that one would run behind. Still at 45 degrees, run the line, and then if you need to turn it, take it up, and you've now got that 3D shape. Now obviously this one's a little bit more complicated, so I'm just going to go from here, 45, trying to keep the lines parallel, and then just sketch and join them up, and you can see you get that 3D shape. The reason I'm not doing these ones is because they would be behind the shape. So I'm just doing those from left to right. And I'd say they're not perfect. You can spend a lot more time practicing that, get loads of different shapes. What might help you is have a look at some of the shapes that you drew for the task last week, maybe put some of them down and try and practice on separate. Don't practice on your real drawings, because obviously you don't want loads of rubbing out marks, but maybe just redraw some of your shapes and go for it. But that is called oblique drawing, and that is what we are going to be going on to today and moving on to right now. So, as you know, we're going to move on to those oblique drawings. So with me now, I actually have, hopefully you do too, the work that I did last time. So I've got my squares there that you saw me do, my designs there, my lovely designs. And I've also, just for the sake of today's video, gone and done another sort of quick page using a different shape, as you can see right there. So we're just going to turn these. Now, as I mentioned, the examiner wants to see that you can do a range of techniques. So you don't have to turn every single one of your designs into a 3D sketch. You just don't have to do it. And because obviously you want to show the examiner that you can sketch in 2D and 3D. If you turned every single one of your designs into 3D, then you're not showing the examiner that you can design in 2D. Okay, so I'm just going to pick a couple of my favourites to do. And the first one I'm going to do is this one here. Now obviously and annoyingly what I've done is I've drawn it a bit too close to the edge, so if I try and run it this way I'm going to be off the page. So what I'm going to have to do is do something I don't like doing and go the opposite way on this one, and you might have the same problem. So all I'm going to do is all of these corners here, I'm going to run roughly 45 degrees, all the corners, corners and so on, okay, like so. And all I'm then going to do is run those straight up, along, up and along, and there you have that 3D shape. Okay, if I come onto this one, I might as well do both of these ones, so I'm just going to go to all my corners, 45 degrees, 45 degrees, and because of this one here you can also do that one there because it will run behind. Okay, so once I've done all my 45 degree lines, I'm just going to join them all up. So here, that would go up there, that would run behind, that would go up there, that would go up there. Now again, don't worry about how unneat it might look, because as I mentioned last time, you will be getting a fine liner and going over these and making them look a little bit neater. Eventually we'll be adding colour to them, so again they look much neater and much tidier. So please don't worry about them looking a little bit messy. I completely understand that you might think as a D teacher I should be getting them looking absolutely perfect. I don't need to. It is just a sketch, and you'll see how this journey continues in up and coming weeks. So please don't keep looking and going, oh, I hate that, it looks messy, because I know what some of you are like. You want them to look absolutely perfect first time round. I promise you these will look better eventually. You just got to be patient. Okay, moving on to the next one. Again, just 45 degree lines. Obviously they've got a bit smaller, so I'll start smaller, I'll grow these lines here, and again I can probably just put those in behind there, so I've got the corners there, and I can come up here, do the upward ones first. It makes life a bit easier, and you can just then take that behind each one like so. Okay, and you get that there. Now again, as you can see, I now haven't done all of them. I've just done my favourite. Now my favourite happened to be the last three. So I've obviously had my normal square, my two squares, and then I've gone on to do my squares like so here. Alright, now if I show you again of a different shape, put them to one side, bring my trusty triangles in. Now with this one, the only one I really like on this one is this middle one, so I'm just going to go for this one here. Now it becomes a bit more complicated on these because there's angles to think about as well, so your brain has to get over sort of the slants of a triangle, but it's just the same, just keeping all the lines parallel like so, and across, and you can see there. And again, don't worry about the messy lines, we'll sort them out later. So that's that one done. And this one, which one should I do? I'll try these two. Let's go for it. So let's just put small line in, small line in, small line in. Again, so that's not perfect. I can see that's not quite parallel. So if I wanted to, I could just rub that out and make that a little bit more parallel to that one. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And again, here, 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 across. Okay, so that's nice and simple. Again, I don't have to do all of them. I can show the examiner that I've got 2D ideas, and I've also can realise some of my ideas in 3D as well. Now you may have remembered from the first video I said that this week you would need, and I put mine somewhere, one of these, like a black felt tip pen. Having sort of done this with another group and had a look at what it is I'm going to do with this, I might actually hold off. So don't get rid of them. You will still need this eventually, but I just think we probably don't want to use it at this stage. Now, as I say, we will use them because it is nice to then neaten them up. There's a part of that neatening up process using these sort of, normally we'd use a fine liner. If you've got a fine liner at home, great. If you don't, using a felt tip pen is just as good. So we will use that eventually. Again, with your work, keep it nice and neat and tidy. Please don't fold them, don't lose them, keep them safe. Add to these drawings as best you possibly can, and also I do want to see them, so take a photo, upload them to show my homework. If you can't do that, take a photo and then just send me an email with them on. It is really important that I get to see your work, so when we eventually do return back to Oakmore, we will actually be carrying on with this, especially year 10 now. If you're in year 10 watching this video, this is part of your real coursework. Okay, the work you're doing now will get sent off to the examiner and you'll be getting marks for it. So don't think, oh, when we get back to school, we're going to start again anyway. Okay, we haven't got time for that. We're going to have to start now, and this is what this project is all about for you guys. Well, I hope that helps. If you do have any questions, please do send me an email or send me a message on Show My Homework, and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. As I say, today the point is looking at turning a 2D drawing into a 3D drawing using that oblique technique. Hope that helps, and I look forward to seeing your work.